Hi everybody, excuse me. Today in this video I'm going to be talking about schizophrenia recovery, because there is recovery for schizophrenia and there's hope as well for schizophrenia. Now, schizophrenia in itself is one of the more serious of the illnesses. It has added components, which is the positives, which are delusional thinking, paranoia. It goes to the thoughts, so it affects your thoughts, behaviour, the personality. It goes, the behaviour and so forth like that. That's your added components. The negatives are the low side of it, like depression side of it, low self-esteem, low in energy, lacking in motivation, all the low side of things. So there's two components there, and the added components, the positives, are the ones that create more of when a person has a psychotic episode because of the thoughts, delusional thoughts. Some people may hear voices, it may experience like seeing and hearing things. So and it sometimes, or a lot of the time, it becomes believable and creates into the personality then how it affects them, their behaviour, which creates then a psychotic episode or episodes. So that's the more serious of the illnesses, schizophrenia. Now, a lot of the time it hasn't been understood a lot, which it should be understood. There's been a lack of understanding around it and a lack of awareness around it in the past, which has created a lot of stigma around schizophrenia. Like, because of that, you hear of in the media, let's just say a crime's been committed, and it goes focused straight on a person that is suffering with a mental illness, schizophrenia. Now, that doesn't help with the awareness around schizophrenia. It doesn't help with the awareness around a mental illness either. It creates a lot of stigma, because then people make their own minds up and think that's what a schizophrenic does, goes out and commits a crime. All right, those crimes they shouldn't happen. A crime is a crime. It's not very nice, but at the end of the day, that is far few. Schizophrenia, someone suffering, with schizophrenia will go out and commit a crime. There are far few that actually do it. A lot of the time, they are the victims and not the perpetrators, and that's what has to be understood with schizophrenia. They are the victims and not the perpetrators. They are vulnerable. They're classed as clinically vulnerable. Their suffering is they got an illness. They're suffering in pain, and a lot of the time they suffer in silence because of what it's been portrayed around schizophrenia in the past. We go on about keeping the awareness around mental health, and it should be with those suffering with schizophrenia, because they have a mental illness as well. That conversation should be going. They should be involved in this awareness, not being pulled to one side and stigma around it. I think a lot of the time it's, like I said, a lack of understanding. Now, you've just got, what was I going to say? Yeah, a lack of understanding. All they want is to be understood, because deep down in a person that is suffering with an illness, that is suffering with schizophrenia, there is good in them. There's good there. It's just the fact that they have an illness, and what is going on with them. It's the symptoms, how it affects them. It's how the illness affects them. And like I said, they don't go out committing crimes like the media, like how it's portrayed. Like I said, it's far few that go out and do that. A lot of the time, it's been people that even haven't got an history of a mental illness, but you don't hear much of that. It always focuses on people that are suffering with a mental illness, and that's wrong. Like I said, it doesn't help with the awareness around it either. Now, my partner, he has schizophrenia. Now, I can just, me myself, I can only imagine what it's like to have schizophrenia. Now, that's all I can do, is just imagine, but it doesn't mean to say that I can't have that understanding around it. You know, I can understand. I can only but imagine how a person is feeling, what they're going through that is suffering with schizophrenia. Now, like I said, my partner, he suffers with schizophrenia. He's come a long way with his, you know, he now can cope. He's got his self-help coping strategies that he does that helps him. He's got his own routine that helps him with his illness, you know, self-help care, and it works. You know, it do work. It works for him, and like I said, it's gone a long way. He's gone a long way with his illness in his recovery, and like I said, it is possible to recover from an illness. Now, I would say with the right treatment, the proper treatment for it will help that person or persons that is suffering with schizophrenia to enable them eventually to start to be able to cope and manage with it and create their own self-care coping strategies to manage it and even recover from it. And when I say that is, I watched a documentary, well, both me and my partner have watched a documentary, and it's called Take These Broken Wings, Recovering from Schizophrenia. And it was about, I won't go too much into it, but it was about two women that suffered with schizophrenia. And they were really bad. I mean, because some people suffer more with it than others. It depends on the individual. And they suffered really bad with it. They had it really bad for many years, but they had the right treatment, proper treatment for it. And eventually, it took a while, but eventually they recovered from it. They recovered from schizophrenia. You know, a lot of people, if they watched it from the beginning, they would probably think, oh, I don't know. But yeah, they recovered. They went through their recovery and they became something of their self. They made something of their self. And yeah, and it was just by watching it, it just really makes you think that anything is possible. You know, if it's dealt with properly and treated properly, anything is possible. You know, so I just wanted to do this video because you don't hear a lot about schizophrenia so much. People, you know, it needs to be more talked about, I think. We talk about mental illness, we do talk about mental illness and the awareness there, but schizophrenia and those serious illnesses, they need to be brought into the conversation. We need to keep that conversation going and bring it into the conversation, because it is possible to recover from schizophrenia and to live a near normal life. Maybe some people may get to a stage where they can manage and cope with it a little bit easier as well. And it goes by, and the less, and eventually you may have less you may have less relapses. You tend to, as it goes on, you start to have less relapses. But that's with the right treatment and the right self-help care. You can, someone that is suffering with schizophrenia, like I said, can create their own as well, eventually, self-help care. That is very important to have your own self-help care. And the more you do those things, the more benefit you do get from them. And if you are in that predicament with your schizophrenia where it's playing you up a little bit, you're having one of those moments, sometimes, or a lot of the time, if you've got something in place to help you cope with it, it will pull you out of that episode that you're in a lot of the time. My partner, it's happened to him. Like I said, he's got his own coping strategies that he does, and he does them daily. And even when he's feeling a bit low, he will push himself to do them. And once he's done whatever he's going to do to pull him out of how he's feeling, he feels a lot better for it. So schizophrenia, there is hope, and I think that's what they need to hear. Those that are suffering with schizophrenia and the serious illnesses, there is hope. Like I said, anything is possible as long as it's treated properly, maintained properly, managed, and be able to manage and cope properly. Anything is possible. The recovery, and it do get easier over time. It can get easier over time as well. So I'm going to end the video there. So this video was about schizophrenia, recovery, and hope. So like I said, I'm going to end the video there. Please, excuse me. Please share this video, because mental health is very important. And for those out there that are suffering with serious illnesses, we need to keep them in the conversation, keep that awareness there, understanding there. If you've got an understanding around it, you will just have that understanding and keep that awareness there around schizophrenia and mental illness in itself. So please share this video, and if you wish to subscribe, feel free to, and don't forget as well to give us a like.